Dads with daughters. Out of all of their boyfriends, which one did you hate the most and why? Her current. First, 1. She's 16 and in love and I'm trying to be supportive, but this boy is a complete butthead. He frequently blows her off to play video games, is never on time when they are supposed to meet up, by like hours, and just doesn't seem to appreciate her or her time. I've told her this multiple times, and have subtly suggested maybe they should take a break, but they're still together. At least she's going to learn something from this relationship, hopefully. I know my first relationship definitely taught me a lot. My dad hated my high school boyfriend because the first time they met, my boyfriend told him, unsolicited, how to make a bong out of a pomegranate juice bottle. Wow, you dated a real idiot. My father hated my first serious boyfriend, but was almost always warm and welcoming to him. I asked him recently, I'm now 45, why he didn't ban me from seeing him or stop him from staying over. His answer was that if he'd done that then I'd have run off with him and got married and it would have been a disaster. He was absolutely right, and I'm so grateful he let me work out myself that I didn't want to live with a cheating speed freak. Good father. I personally never hated any of my children's interests, but I do remember having a girlfriend whose father hated me so much he thought it'd be funny to put me on a horse that wasn't tame and let me ride it. Was my first time around horses and almost ended with me being thrown. Jokes on him cause I married that girl. We get along now. He's not so bad once you get past the trying to injure me bit. I had been saving a mango for days waiting for that perfect ripeness. Almost ate it one evening but decided that one more night would be perfect. The following day my daughter's butthole then boyfriend decided to eat that perfectly ripe mango before I came home from work. Never forgave him. Also, he was an entitled jerk in many other ways. Never come between a man and his ripe mango. Not the dad but the boyfriend here. I went to pick her up and she informed me that if he ever saw me on their property he'd put a round in me. Turns out I worked for him as a taxi driver and he did not like me as an employee, so the punchline? It's been 20 years of his baby and I have been married. But does he like you yet? In high school when I met my girlfriend's father for the first time he asked me how long my arms were. I said I don't know, maybe 32 inches. His reply was I want aim a 36 inches from you at all times. This was a social distancing premonition. It's funny because my two daughters thought they had a read on me and didn't. They thought I wanted the male college graduate from a prosperous family. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. One is gay and one has fallen for an army guy. I like both of their choices because they work hard, respect my daughters, and will stand up to me to defend them, not viciously or anything. The boyfriend I hated was the one where my daughter was trying to please me. He was going to engineering school, prosperous family, nice car, and good grades. But he was an butt, would pressure her to do things that got her in trouble, and made her think he wanted to marry her in high school if she would wait. He was manipulative and wasn't respectful of my daughter, me, or my wife. I'm glad he moved and is out of the picture. The new guy has nothing but respect and a hard work ethic. Dang. Sounds like a guy you should hit with a shovel. My stepdad absolutely hated my ex-boyfriend. At the time I couldn't understand it and thought he was being judgmental, but looking back I can see why. He would always ask for lifts home if he came round. Didn't wait for anyone to offer, he'd just straight up ask. Thought it was okay to smoke out of my window. I was trying to impress him by making out it was fine, and insisting on bringing his dog over, despite my stepdad being allergic. This guy really thought he could get away with manipulating and taking advantage of people because he was charming. I'm so glad my stepdad saw right through him. My best friend was a huge womanizing douchebag in his 20s. He slept around a lot. He used women. He was manipulative. Honestly, he was an butthole in general. He's really grown up a lot. Has a successful career now and settled down. He's married now and has a daughter. They're expecting another daughter. I laughed so hard when he found out he was having a girl. He was everything a father would warn their daughters about. I can't wait for this time in their life to come around, lol. Guys like that tend to become the most overprotective dads. Big sister here. My dad, and the entire rest of the family, absolutely despised my baby sister's boyfriend. He was a condescending jackass that gave her an eating disorder, among other mental health issues. One morning she walks into the living room with a black eye. Every one of us was ready to kill the bastard. Turned out she dropped her phone onto her face. But the fact that we all believed he was capable of that really shook her. I had warring feelings when they broke up. I felt bad for her because of how absolutely devastated she was, but was happier than a pig in crap that it didn't last. I also happened to get dumped the same day. So, joy. Fast forward a few months, and one of her best friends finally works up the courage to ask her out. Only took him 4 years. It's longer distance, because they are in colleges in different states, but she saw the immediate difference when the first weekend he drove out to her dorm because he wanted to see her. Flash forward 3.5 years to today. They are getting married in a few months, and he's already part of the family. Love this happy ending. Glad she's got a sweet one now. Not the dad but the youngest daughter. I remember one for each of us and our dad told us why. My sister, she was in high school when she started dating a guy who thought, because he had a car, he was really slick. So when he would pick up my sister for a date or something, he would park outside our house and honk the horn to summon her. He did this twice with my dad hearing it, so dad told my sister to wait inside and walked out to the kid asking what he was delivering because he sure as heck wasn't picking anything up here. My dad's a tall and wide guy. I think he's just shy of 6'3", so he scared the guy a fair bit. A few weeks later my sister dumped him cause he asked her to hold some suspicious something in a bag and my dad told the guy that he'd better never seen him lurking around my sister again unless he wanted to find out what an ex-dentist could do. Me. I had a friend who because a boyfriend during my freshman year. He was a nice guy but what I wasn't aware of was he was super religious and pretty much wanted the high school sweetheart. Engaged for a few months and then married with kids lifestyle. He pretty much wanted me to just make babies and be a stay-at-home mom. His mistake was during a family dinner he was invited to. He mistook my mom being unemployed at the time for being a stay-at-home mom and thought my dad shared the same ideals. So like an idiot he starts talking about how my dad needs to remind me and my sister what our duties in life are. I was confused. My sister was confused. And my mom had the most "what is he talking about" face while my dad just goes silent. My then quickly turning ex decided to add that they need to serve their husbands and not challenge them. What followed was my mom taking his plate away and my dad getting up and leading the kid by the neck out to the hallway to get dressed and out the door. Dad told him that he was no longer welcomed here again and shut the door. He then returned to the table and asked me, "I hope you're not upset by this, but I'd rather you date someone else, lark." I told him not to worry because he had just become an ex. I love that absolutely everyone in your family was on the same page without discussion. I still hate that guy that mentally abused her. The guy that didn't want her to show her tattoo. Small one that says survivor on her lower arm because it did not fit in the class he wanted to be in. The guy that didn't want her to cosplay because it was either too childish or soft porn. The guy that didn't want her gothic clothing because it wasn't fitting to his circles. The guy that did not want her to see her best friends and did not want her to come along to the parties of his friends. The guy that always compared her to his female friends. The guy that gave her psychological problems that caused her to have problems studying which caused her dropping out of university. Yeah, I still hate that guy. Luckily with all the support from us, her current boyfriend and a very good psychiatrist, she is overcoming her anxieties and insecurities. Last month she graduated as a certified nurse working with elderly people with Alzheimer's. I am so freaking proud of her. That guy was a manipulating monster. I don't have words to explain what I want to say. My middle kid's boyfriend. I hate him with a passion. She's made so many bad choices while with him. I know her choices, I should blame her and I do. And he encourages them. They abuse drugs together, etc. It's a mess. And he's just a jerk. Tried to pick up on my youngest while she was a minor. I know her problems won't go away even if he was gone. But good lord, do I just want him to go away. They won't go away right away. But having him out of the picture for a spell will give her time, if she lets it, to start shaping back up. Good luck, my friend. I wish everyone but him well. My dad absolutely hated the one that traumatized me, so I guess that's no surprise. My abusive ex was the worst piece of crap and wasn't only crappy to me but my family too. Especially to my dad. Then again, this sucker was probably a psychopath. He was discharged from army boot camp for homicidal urges. As an soldier, I gotta say, it's probably for the best he got kicked out. I've also met more than few guys like this. We don't like them any more than you guys do. Not me, but my Sil's last boyfriend. He was a total bag. Made inappropriate jokes about their sex life in front of the family, was always talking crap about others behind their back, and literally just smoked and played video games all day and relied on her to pay rent, food, etc. He did carry me to some warzone victories though, so there was at least one positive out of the relationship. Well, for me it is pretty simple. I want her to make good decisions, and that means choosing someone who also makes good decisions. The only people I have ever had a problem with are those that don't make good decisions about their lives. IMHO, teaching your kids to love intentionally is the best life skill you can give them. Good decisions can sometimes be in the eye of the beholder. So this is the exact opposite of the question, but I once had a boyfriend whose father I did not like. The first time I met his dad, he asked me if I was a stripper because he said I have a stripper name. Who asks their son's GF if she's a stripper the first time they meet? My dad and stepdad both hated my ex, and honestly so did every single person in my life. But the worst thing he said to my stepdad happened after I picked him up from downtown after a night of drinking. I brought him back to my house, and we were in the living room with my mom and stepdad. I don't remember what happened in between this, but he told my stepdad how he was going to frick me. A lot of these comments are making me wonder why the frick people date these douchebags. Not a dad with daughters, but I met my best friend now by dating his daughter. His daughter and I didn't last 2 years, but he and I have been friends for over 35 years. Apparently all her previous boyfriends had been pieces of crap. One so bad that he threw him bodily over his car hood for something he said. 2020 hindsight, I dodged a bullet with his daughter. Nice enough person, but we would have been divorced in less than 5 years. My daughter is 15 and was going out with a young fella who was 16. They would frequently argue about her friends because he was jealous. I tolerated until she started not socializing with her friends, then I had a word with him. Told him that if he could not accept she was her own person without trying to control her to combat his own insecurity, then I would put a stop to him spending any time with her. He seemed to listen. Fast forward a week or two. She was all excited because they were going to the beach and would get to play on someone's jet ski. She came back into the house a few hours later shaken and in tears. Said he had taken her a few hundred meters offshore on the jet ski. Started yelling at her, calling her ass, and then pushed her off, threatening to leave her there. Yep, so I went down to his house and spoke to his parents. Told them that I wasn't going to deal with him because, well, you know. Said that they needed to deal with him, and if he contacted her again I was going to the cops. Turns out, Samoans' mums and dads take that sort of thing pretty seriously. He turned up with his dad, who told me the mum had taken the jandal to him. Basically spanked her 16-year-old after tearing a shred out of him in front of the family. He was made to apologize to me, my wife and my daughter, and promised to stay away. The dad told me to let him know directly if he didn't keep that promise. I almost felt sorry for the little shite, but nah, not my daughter buddy. The Samoan parents I know would have been horrified by the son's behavior. The jandal would be the least of what he got. For those that don't know, a jandal is a rubber thong in Australia or flip-flop in the UK. My parents weren't keen on my boyfriend cause he was the type to make money out of nothing, so they thought of him as being a hustler. They love him now. I married him and he is a great father and husband. I was the boyfriend, so one of my first girlfriends had a really bad relationship with her dad. He was controlling, emotionally abusive, and mentally abusive. He despised me because of the fact I always encouraged her passions and gave her somewhere to go that he couldn't control. For one Halloween I found Ouija board mints, and he instantly thought I made her join a cult. We stayed friends even after we broke up, and I still want to beat the crap out of her dad. I'll help. I'm a single mom of a girl. She's almost 20 now, but when she was about 16 she brought home this boy and I evaluated him. I like to think I'm a pretty easygoing mom, but I flat out forbid her from seeing this idiot ever again. She brought him to her family picnic and we kept telling me and our family that if we wanted good vodka he knew where to get some and could hook me up. that he only drank the best beers and had a good collection of liquids. I finally told him to go home, and at a 17-year-old bragging about the high-end alcohol he consumed wasn't impressive to anyone. God, I hated him. Brother with sister here. The one that my family hated the most was the one that came back into her life, talked her into leaving her husband of 25 years and 2 kids, and moving in with him. Bruh. Not a dad, but I'm my sister's keeper. The older one's fragile, physically, so I looked out for her. I hated it when this really older dude dated her. She was 18. He was in his late 20s. After my sis dumped him, he stalked her on social media and in person. Dude travels 2 hours from his work to pick my sis from school and take her to the movies. It scared her to the point that she couldn't answer her phone. She wasn't home by 9 PM, so I got rattled. Good thing she went home unharmed. Said dude then tells his mom that my sister's his real love and convinces his mom to talk to my sis through call. I'm glad that his mom was more understanding and told my sis that she'll make sure her son won't bother my sis anymore. Creepy dude was, apparently, mentally disturbed, but he stopped after a while, so all's good now. My youngest sister, 15 or 14 at that time, experienced puppy love with a classmate of hers. I told her the guy seemed gay, but she wouldn't listen. Lil sis came crying home from school one day. Turns out she broke up with the guy because she found him getting too touchy with another male classmate. For any guys reading this, if you are unsure if you're treating your girl right, ask yourself, would I like my daughter treated like the way I treat my girl? If the answer is no, then change now. The problem is the ones who don't even think to ask this question, because they have so little empathy and imagination, or are just douchy bros with a hells yay, my girl likes it like this attitude. Big brother here. Can I say the guy who came to meet my family because he was dating my eldest younger sister, and the first 2 things out his mouth were, "Where is the shitter?" and "Any if you have some weed I could really use with a smoke of some of that crap. You're a freaking idiot." I had terrible taste in boyfriends. My dad hated them all. So when I brought my now husband home for the first time, my dad was literally cleaning his guns in the living room to intimidate him, I guess. But my dad was impressed when he recognized the guns and started chatting about them confidently. Ah yes, America. This one little crap was a total good for nothing. No job. In fact, never had a job. And spent his days sitting watching TV. They were officially a couple for about a year, though he didn't take her out for a meal even once. I didn't see it going anywhere, and thankfully it didn't. Maybe I was being too hard on him. Both of them were only 3.5 years old, but you've got to look out for your daughter. Brother of a sister. I've probably hated every one of her boyfriends, including her current husband. They were going through a separation, which did not hold. They are back together, but he argued in court that she was going to commit suicide with a knife. I wanted to kill him on the spot. There is no way in heck she would do that. Leave her kids to him. Never. He knew it. I knew it. But he lied anyway. I was in nuclear mode. Can't stand him. My daughter is 20. She's still dating her first boyfriend that started at 15. He's a really great guy. I hope they get married someday. So I guess I hate him the most. LOL. My parents didn't know about us dating, but when we were just friends they hated him. He verbally harassed me and manipulated me and my best friend, his ex. He would say sexist things to me and then get offended that I wouldn't laugh. Thank God I broke up with him. BC I knew it wasn't something I wanted to pursue, no matter how sweet he could be to me. Not a dad, but older brother of 2 younger sisters. The older of them had a boyfriend which my mother hated because he was a scrawny white boy from the Midlands who talked like he was some kind of ghetto gangster. He was harmless enough though. I hated the guy she ended up marrying. I could see from day one he was a scumbag. And when he up and left, abandoning her, leaving her to raise their daughter alone, I was proved right. The younger of my sisters has been a bit smarter with her life choices. She said have a boyfriend who I didn't like because I thought he was a vain and arrogant, but he mostly treated her good, apart from not giving back her Nintendo DS after they split up. He's evil. Give her back if you'd read this, you piece of crap. Older brother here. Little sister brought this dude to a winter cabin rental. OMG. 3 days and this dude never stopped talking. He was slightly a know-it-all, but it was way more annoying that he felt we all needed to know his opinion on everything. My 3 other siblings were all very nice to him, but once the weekend was over we could not stop ranting about him, not telling my little sister of our disgust. Luckily she figured this out on her own and she broke up with him a month later. My eldest is 6, so her first and only BF. Hate is a strong word and I never let her know what I thought. This is her paraphrased description. He is 7. He gets in trouble sometimes for climbing the fence. He wears knee pads even when he gets off his bike. He is nice to me. I remember listening to her and silently screaming if she likes the bad boys. This is going to be a big problem in about 8 years. Oh well. Kinda expected since I was one of those bad boys. Guy comes rolling down the driveway on a ratted out, semi-bobbed Honda motorcycle with no baffles in the exhaust. He stood about 5 feet 7 inches 120 pounds, wearing a leather vest, no shirt, biker chaps, and 0 helmets on the bike. I thought it had to be some kind of practical joke. His name was Ace. He told me this from behind much too large aviators. Cocky little bastard. He attempts to fist bump me at the door, calls me dude and calls my 18-year-old daughter sweet tea when she walked out of the house. Guess who stayed home and watched movies with daddy that night? I'm the daughter here. Barman in my local pub asked my dad if he could ask me out. I was 17, he was 18 or 19 at the time. Good start. Dad says don't ask me. It's up to her not me. Way to go dad. After maybe 2 weeks my dad's in the pub chatting to the barman. I don't know the full conversation, just that boyfriend says I can't believe we're still friends when I'm shagging your daughter. My dad at this point lost it and this ended with the boyfriend locking himself in the ladies' toilets while my dad informs him they are not friends and that if he says anything like that again he'll be eating through a straw. I think the relationship lasted about 2 more weeks tops. My dad always did his best to get on with my boyfriends and he met them all. After we broke up I'd hear what he really thought. The only serious boyfriend my dad took a genuine liking to I ended up marrying, so that worked out. Well, my daughter's dad hates all boyfriends now and to infinity of our 16-year-old. That's why she doesn't tell him anything. I know which ones she's talked to. I'm also a teacher, so I have an inside track. I've been okay with the ones she's liked. Right now, one of my former students is a tentative beau. Even though he's 18, he is very respectful in every situation I've witnessed and heard about the 2 years I knew him, and now I know his mom and what she expects. Even better, he knows I will kick his ever-living butt if he acted up. I like that level of fear and respect. Doubly awesome. He is off to college soon on a baseball scholarship. My dad was a favorite teacher in our school system. He taught middle schools, but there was only one middle school. But everyone knew you didn't cross the line with him. It made it difficult to get guys to ask me out in HS because they were all intimidated by my dad. Pretty sure my older sister also had the same issue. Pretty sure my dad had 0 issues with that. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.